Warm good evening to all. Hope I am audible to all you guys. So, once again, a warm good evening to all. So, today we are here with the second section of Introduction to Github, which was a continuation of the last section, which was held on the last week. So, in order to complete all the basics of GitHub and the introduction to Git, so I invite Arunas Kumar to start a section on behalf of this program. I welcome Anindita.
Hi everyone, good evening and welcome back to our second session on Git and GitHub. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. So let's get started. Since nobody has any queries, and I hope there is no new joinees as well. We are having a continuous session from last week, and we will be continuing where we have left from last week's session. Okay, so let's get started. Since there was a time given for any questions, I believe that everyone was able to do what we have discussed from last week. So let's get started. Before that, is it okay that I continue in Malayalam? Is there anyone who doesn't follow Malayalam here? Last week we were having a session in Malayalam. Last week.
Is there having any either we can go with Malayalam or English or anyone new over here having preference changes or something? Or നമുക്ക് മലയാളം വെച്ച് ഒന്ന് കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്യാം. So ആർക്കും എന്തെങ്കിലും ഡൗട്ടോ കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ like if എല്ലാവരും മലയാളം വെച്ച് ഓക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ എന്താ ഓക്കെ. So like കഴിഞ്ഞ സെക്ഷൻ പോലെ എല്ലാവരും ഇന്ററാക്ട് ചെയ്യുക. So ഹാൻഡ്സം പോലെ ആയിരിക്കും. So interact ചെയ്ത് മാക്സിമം യൂട്ടിലൈസ് ചെയ്യുക സെക്ഷൻ്റെ. സോ ഇതും കൂടെ ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കത്തുള്ള നമുക്ക് ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ്റെ ഡിറ്റ് ആൻഡ് ഡിറ്റെയിൽഡ്. സോ എല്ലാവരും മാക്സിമം ഇന്ററാക്ട് ചെയ്ത് ലേൺ ചെയ്യുക അറ്റ് ദ വെരി മോസ്റ്റ്. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു.
Sorry, one person has raised their hands. Do you have any queries or? Okay, so someone is not able to follow us. Okay, just get a recap. Did you attend the last session of what we have done, what we have discussed? Did you go through the recording?
Guys, please respond.
Yeah, better if you can speak. I think we will have much time. If someone has posted that, she's not able to understand Malayalam. That's why I asked him. Anyway, let's start it. Let's not waste our time and continue the session. It's fine. I will just discuss in English. It's no problem. Let me share my screen. I hope you guys are able to see my screen. Here is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Sure. So last week we have what we have done. Just getting a recap of what we did. So we went through the basics of Git. Then we went through what GitHub is, and we tried to add a local files from our local repository to a remote repository. So by now, all of you are familiar with the concepts of, I believe. I don't know how many of you have gone through the sessions again or tried to do this, but I believe that you guys have done the same and you are now familiar with what the basic concept of Git are and what is a database. So, and also as a exercise, we have actually pushed all the code from our local repository to a remote repository in our GitHub. Okay, so this much it is clear for everyone. So we are now continuing from here. Okay, so can you guys take your GitHub repository page that we have pushed the code last week? So we will be continuing from there. Can everyone take in your computer? No need to present that. Just take it in your browser and keep that tab ready. So we will be taking that from. Okay. Just give me a thumbs up or chat. Just post that we have taken that.
Guys, you respond over here since we can have a better section if you are able to respond along with the questions and your.
Okay, just for the sake of time, I assume you have taken the screen where you have uploaded the files from our last session. Okay. So one thing that I didn't mention that, so here is particular thing called commits. So we have a commit button where we can track what are the commits that we have done. So on the last week, we have done following commits to our local repository, and we have pushed that particular code to the remote repository as well. So we can see that on 25th October, we have added all these commits and we can review that. All those things can be done. Just ignore this thing, the server state. Okay. So, uh, yeah. So now, so one more concept that we have to discuss, and that is what we are going to discuss today. So that day we have, since our session got too long and got extended for like 2 hours, we had to take a hard stop. Now we are discussing from one more important concepts in GitHub, and that particular thing is very important for your development career as well. Okay, that is called Git branches. Okay, so what is a Git branch? So this is actually representation of what a branch would look like. So as the name suggests, the main project would be maintained like a tree, and we will have multiple branches on which we have our development. For example, for last week, it's okay. So you are working on a large project, and already that project is somewhat completed. Yeah, so the first, at least the first version of the project is completed. And now what you are going to do is you are joined as the developer, and you are assigned with the task to develop a feature. Okay, so normally what we do is we do not actually work on the main code. Okay, so if you don't have a Git, what we normally do is we will keep a backup copy of what the previous code is, and we will work on a new code. But here, what we are going to do is we will create a separate branch of the code so that you can work or you can experiment, you can try everything that you want to do in the feature branch, in the branch you create. So this branch nomenclature is not that a mandatory thing. So here you can, there is a, they could say feature A, feature B, or you call it bug fix, or you would call it data set, under different names. So there is no problem on having the names. But why do we need to keep a branch? Is that because you need to have the version of the previous code. For example, imagine that you are in a scenario where you have deployed the code, your current code in the live production server, and you have to develop a feature for it. So then one of your users report that there's a bug in this current live production and you need to fix it. So either you or some of the teammates will be going to work and fix on that particular bug that is reported. So what is happening there? So whatever code was already there had to be changed. So if you are just maintaining a separate repository or a backup, if you are and you are responsible for making the bug changes, so just imagine the situation that already you are working on the feature and you are somewhat middle of your work. Then someone from your user reported that you have to work on the bug. So you have to go back to the previous version of the code and then work on it. Understood the difference? So what happens is that you find out there is a small bug and then you change that bug and you deploy the new code to the production. So what is current scenario? You have 3 versions of code. First, your main code, then the feature code that you're working, then you have the bug fixed code of the main version. So all 3 versions of code you need to manage, and that would be the Herculean task for you if you don't have a proper repository and Git versioning. In this case, we are having the particular feature called Git branch. Okay, so here we will have like something called a main and a feature branch or a bug fix branch. So this nomenclature is not like it's a legacy thing, or it's something that you will be employing based on your company's policies. So you will have a main branch where the main code will be maintained, and nobody will be, other than the architect, nobody will be allowed to maintain that code. And now someone like us as a developer who joins the company, and we are asked to develop a feature. So what we will do is, so this is what the branch will do. We take a feature branch from this. So we take a version from the branch, and we will start working on that. And your version would be goes to several iterations until it will comes match with the feature main branch. Similarly, like I said, so there is a bug issue reported. So the main code need to be changed. So what do you? So maybe it will be assigned to you, maybe it will be assigned to someone else. So the other developer will be taking that particular branch, and he will be working on that particular version. Then he will change this code, and what he will do is he will once merge to the main branch. So like I said, one particular code has 3 different versions. So this versioning tool or this merge, this branches will help us to keep track on what are the changes what are happening to a project, when did it happen, and what are the new versions that need to be incorporated to our latest branch. So all these things are incorporated in our branch, and finally you will get the main branch. So for this purpose, and there are chances that your feature need to be worked by someone else. So maybe it is not necessarily you single-handedly going to work on a single project. There will be someone else who will need to assist you on working that particular case. So what happens is that they will also work on that particular feature branch, and their changes need to be incorporated. So for a single code, when the company's size and the project size get increased, the people working on the code that needed to be maintained will be more. So for a version system will help us to maintain this particular project. Okay, I hope this much is clear to the concept of maintaining the branches. After that, then only I get to the session. I hope everyone is clear. So, are you clear with the concept of? Do I need to explain it again? No. Okay. So now let's come back to this process. So here, come back to our Git session. Here you can see. So there is a main branch which we created the last time, and you have like a tab called one branch. Okay. What is this that? What it means is that you only have a single branch for your code base. So here what you can see is that you can see switch branches or tags. That means you can switch between the branches. Currently, since you have only one branch, the main branch is selected. So what I'm going to do is I'll type feature one. Okay. So since the feature branch is not there, they will give you option for create branch feature one from you. So what we will do is we create a feature branch. Okay. So one branch is created. So what this means is that I have a main. So let's come back to this diagram. I have a main branch. Now I have a feature branch. Okay. So whatever changes I need to do, I will be doing on this feature branch. Then after I've made my changes, I will be merging this with the main branch, so that the main branch will remain intact. And in case if any changes need to be done to the main branch, someone else can work on the main branch without affecting my work. So that is the main principle behind it. Okay. And when you go in a company or when you're contributing in the open source, the branching structure is very important so that you can maintain the code properly. And when you work as a software developer, not 100% of your time will be devoted to development alone. So there are 40% of your time that needed to be required to maintain the code versions, proper documentation to be done. All those things will be accounted for your work as well. So here, this is what that comes on, right? Okay. So we have created a branch now, and one more thing, one important thing is that not necessarily you get that you will get the provision. You join since most of your qualifying students, you will be joining the company as a fresher. Not you will be given the rights or you will be given the permissions to access the GitHub as such. Maybe you will have a lead, you will have a manager who will be creating the branch and will be sharing that particular branch rights permissions only. So you will be working on that branch, and after you have worked on this, you have fixed all those changes, you will be raising a pull request to merger changes. That is what the process we will be discussing now. And like imagine, and what I'm going to discuss with you is on a perspective of someone who is working as a developer as a software company. Okay. So you have created, either you have created two branches or your manager has created a new branch and shared it. Now let's get back to our code. So this is the code that we have done last week. So this is the code that we have done last week. So take the big status. So on branch main, your branch is up to date with original. So in a local, you doesn't know the fact that okay, there is a remote branch has been created. There is a separate branch has been created, and you don't have access to that. In order to get that, you need to get typing in a command called git pull. Okay. So this is a command. So git pull means from your remote repository, you have pulled all the new updates from the repository to your local one. So now you can see there has been addition of a new feature branch already up to date since there has been no changes. You can just check the git status as well. Your branch is up to date. Okay. Now what you have to do is you have to change this branch from main to your feature one branch. For that, there is another command called git checkout. So there is something called git switch, which is available in the new version of the GitHub. You can use that as well. Since this is something very old school, I'm using here. So git checkout, we are using. So you can see the command switch to a new branch feature one set up to track version feature. Okay, there is another command called git branch where you can check the status of what the branch you are using and what branch you are currently working on and what are the branches available. So you can see that. Can you see that this command terminal? Can you see this? Okay, when I type the git branch command, there is a feature one and there is a main. So there are two branches available for you, and the star and the highlight means you are working on this current branch. Understood. This is very important. Never should you ever accidentally or unknowingly you should work on another branch. Whatever branch is allocated to you or whatever branch you are working, you should work only on that. Because what happens is that we will be working very intuitively, and maybe you will not be remembering to check which branch you are working. So what happens is that there are chances that you get overrated to another branch and lose everyone's work. So you should not do that. Instead of to avoid all these conflicts, what you have to do is you should check what branch you are working on, and whatever you are making the commits or whatever code you're pushing to your remote, you should make proper accountability, and you should also check that it is not getting overwritten for others' project. Okay, so that is very important, and that is something that can get escalated to different issues. So make sure that you don't make sure you work on the proper one. Okay, because what this happens when you're working under an extreme deadline or something that needs to be submitted very in a span of time, we get to lose a track of what branch we are working. So make sure every time you're working for the very first day or the very first thing, you should check that you're working on the correct branches and you're maintaining the correct. This kind of accident does not happen because you are not you have very few feeble possibility of getting access to the main branch, but still make sure that you are not working on another branch. Okay, so feature one is the branch you're currently working on. Now what I'm going to do is to this particular branch I'm going to add a new file. Okay, so just say file name text file. New file is added. Adding some. Guys, make sure if I'm going too fast, make sure to interrupt me and ask your doubts. This is very important, I'm saying. So try to make the session more attractive. So I'm naming this file as new file. All right. So what happens is that I added a new file to our repository, and now this particular file is added in our local repository. Okay. So what are the steps that we need to do to add this particular file to my Git history or the my remote branch? Can anyone say we done this last time? What is the command that need to do when you have created a new file? Anyone? You need to pick some names and call you randomly, or just you can guys try to reclaim.
Is there anyone who can respond to the question?
So what is the command that we need to add a particular? The answer is in my statement itself. What is it? What is the command we need?
Okay, I think we have got the answer. Git add.
Correct. Git add. Just try to open the mic and speak. If I have to type the chat, then why do you have a record? Why do we keep a live session? We could have had a record. Okay. So git add file.txt. So what is the next command? Anyone? Okay, just taking you to my school level. Nobody's answer. Okay, just leave it. For the sake of the time, we are not wasting anything. I'm trying to keep it as a very limited time. Okay. So we add is git commit. The commit should say initial commit. Okay. Git commit. So we added the file to our staging environment, then we committed the file. Now what the command we need to add this file to our repository is git push. Okay, so before pushing, let me take you to my branches. So now feature one branch is created and you have a main branch as well. Okay, so both the branches you can see that there are two files and there is they are similar, no changes as of such as in such here. So you have a read file and new text file in both branches. Now what I'm doing is I am added a new text file called new file.txt. Then I have committed it to my local repository. Now I'm entering the command git push. Okay, now we can say that this feature one to feature one. That means I have pushed this particular file from my local repository to my remote repository. And you can go here and push click the refresh button. You can see the change has been reflected. So the new file, initial commit, 1 minute time. You can see that this particular file has been added to this feature one branch, not the main branch. When you go and check the main branch, you can see that there is still only two files here. Okay, so that is the difference. Whatever changes you are doing on your feature branch or your branch you have newly created, that change won't be shown in your main branch or your master branch unless or until you have disabled to bring that change. So I hope this much is clear to you. Now what we are going to do is, okay, I hope this much is clear to you. So now we can take the status. You can see that your branch is up to date with the origin or feature one. That means this feature one branch is up to date with the branch that you're working on currently. Okay. Now once I have completed my development, we are not going to maintain it. Like for every feature, we might be creating new branches, but as we pass through, we are not going to maintain this hundreds of branches. We will be having one or two branches depending upon requirements. Once you have completed the development and you have finished all your testing, what you have to do is there are two things that you have to do. One is you have to merge this branch with your main branch. Means so that the main code will be updated as we go. Before that, the very important thing, what we have to do is, so you have completed your development. So let's say, imagine you have started your development like 7 days ago, and you have been working ever since on this project. And there has been some issues reported to your main branch, and one of your colleague has been working on that issue, and he or she had made the changes and pushed the changes to the RP. So your let me take this picture as well. So imagine you started working at this particular point and your feature is gone like this. Whereas you had some colleague who has been working from this phase and they have made some changes and they have pushed their changes, and now this is the code. So you can see this is what you started with the main code. Now this is the version of the current code of the main branch. I'm saying the main branch. So if you now you directly merge this branch together, the code there will be a conflict. The code won't be able to work because already there has been some changes happening. So in order to avoid that, what you have to do is once you have completed all your development, before you push to the main or before you register your main branch, what you have to do is one particular command you have to do is git pull. So what happens is, in git pull, what happens is that the code, your local repository will align with what the development has happening in the remote repository. So here git pull means already up to date because there has been any changes. So you are safe to merge it, your branch with other branches. Okay. So for that, there are two options. One, there is a command called git merge. So git merge, and you can say, you can either, okay, you can git merge and say origin main. This is one command that you can say. That means what will happen is that both of your feature branch and main branch will be merged together, so that the code base can be maintained properly. But this is not something that you can do in a real world, because what happens is that there are so many people are working on this, and there is a hierarchy of process that happens in a software development company where you can't just simply push it. So for that, what you have to do is you have to create a pull request. That is very important. So what is a pull request is you are raising a request to someone who is the owner of the code repository. It can be a manager, it can be an architect, it can be anyone who is, it can be you itself. It can be you itself, and there will be someone who is working for you. So whoever is actually working on the project, even if you are working on the project itself, there would be a standard procedure to create a pull request. So what happens is that in a pull request, you will be raising a request to the owner of the branch to review the current changes and merge that particular change with your main branch. So to do that, you have to go to the UI. So in this case, this is your UI, and there is an option called pull request. Okay, you have to go to that pull request, and you have to create a new pull request for that. So here you can see there will be some access there. If you have like 10 or 15 developers working for you, there are 10 or 15 you are one of the 10 or 15 developers. You can see there has been multiple pull requests happening now. So you have to. So what the architect has to do is you have to properly align work with every pull request, and you have to approve the pull request. If the code is working correct, if there is no change, he can review the code. And once you have reviewed the code, if there is no changes, he can approve the pull request. But if there are some issues, then he can reject the pull request. So once you get the rejection, you have to look for that. Okay, what is the mistake I have done? In most scenario, it won't be a codical issue or a logical error. It would be that someone had already raised a request, and you have someone has already raised the request just before you. So you are not taking the latest version of the code. But for that case, you have to wait for you have to create another pull on your local repository, and you have to test all the versions, and after that only you are gonna raise the pull request. So okay, I hope that much is clear. So here you will come and raise the new pull request. So you can see what is the base. and what is the main. So you can see the arrow from where to where you are creating the pull request. So you are to merge the base to the main, or compress it, or in your case you have to change it to feature. So here what you have to do is, this is the base code, that is the main branch. What listed is the branch, and from what you should make the pull request. From here it's the feature one you have to make the pull request. Once you have selected this, you can see that, okay, there is one commit here, and what is the code change? So showing one change file to addition 0 deletion. So what happens? You can see that in our code we have added a new file.txt, and what are the details? If you have added multiple files, you will be listing all the files. Okay, and all the changes will be listed here. And you can see that this particular code is actually returned here. So this is the changes, and there is, you can see, okay, able to merge these branches can be automatically merged. There is no issues. That means your code, there is no conflict. But there is some scenarios where there can be conflict. In that case, you have to sit with the developer who has made the pull request the earlier version. You have to assess with them and understand what are the changes, and you have to make the pull request. Okay. So here you want to create a pull request, and you should add a title. If you are working on a feature, adding new feature. And what are the description? Added a new file. So in our case, we have added a new file. Whereas there can be other changes. Okay, you will be saying, okay, I have added a drop down to the code. So anything. So whatever description you are adding, so that someone who is reviewing your code will understand what are the changes you have to do. Okay. So once you have added all the details, you have to create a pull request. So what happened? So you have created a pull request for the feature. Okay. So now, since this is single UI, everything will be listed here. But if you're working in a company, someone else would be making a pull request, and in your screen you will be able to see that. The owner will be able to see that. Okay. In that case, imagine someone has raised a pull request, and I am one of the managers who are reviewing the code. When I come to my GitHub page, I will see that there will be a notification for the pull request. That's one. And someone has raised a pull request, and I can review that. I will go there. You can say, okay, added a new file. What is the description here added? There will be the Git will be checking for this branch has no conflict with base branch. That means there is no issues. But if there is some issues, I can reject that. So here, since there is no issues, I will be saying merge. I'm saying confirm. Now the code pull request has successfully merged and closed. You can see that. To my main branch, the new file has been added. Okay. So this is how you create a pull request for the main branch. So I hope this much is clear to you. So this is what the standard procedure is. You have created a pull request for that. Now we have a new branch created. Okay. So if you want to delete a branch, normally since I have not configured properly, if you have created a pull request, what happens? Someone after approving the pull request, the branch would be automatically deleted. If you want, you can delete the branches from the UI itself. You have to go there to view all branches, and you will have an option to delete the branches. Saying it's merged, you can see it's merged. So I can delete the branch. So this is how you delete a branch. Now if you look at the commits, you can see that merge pull request from feature one. So that means I have merged this particular version of code from another branch. That is very simple. Okay, since I have verified that, there is a verified tag as well. So now my code has changed to a newer version. Okay, I hope this much is clear to you. Do you guys have any doubt?
Is there anyone having any kind of doubt? Anything? Feel free to open your mic. Or you can ask the chat box.
ഹലോ ഇന്നത്തെ റിലേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഡൗട്ട് അല്ല കേട്ടോ.
ഓക്കെ,
കുഴപ്പമില്ല.
ഇതിനൊരു 5 മിനിറ്റ് എക്സ്ട്രാ നമ്മൾ ആദ്യം സമയം തുടങ്ങിയോ തന്നായിരുന്നു.
സോറി, ഞാൻ കേട്ടില്ലായിരുന്നു. എന്താ കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ചാല് ഇത് നമ്മൾ VS കോഡിക്ക് കണക്ട് ചെയ്യണില്ലേ GitHub.
അതെ.
അപ്പൊ അത് ഞാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞ ക്ലാസ് റെക്കോർഡ് സെഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ക്ലോൺ റെപ്പോസിറ്ററി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു ഓപ്ഷൻ ഇല്ലേ, അതാണ് ചെയ്തത്.
ക്ലോൺ റെപ്പോസിറ്ററി അല്ല, ക്ലോൺ റെപ്പോസിറ്ററി എന്തിനാ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത്?
ക്ലോൺ ചെയ്യാനല്ലേ?
അത് ക്ലോൺ ചെയ്യാൻ തന്നെ, അത് എന്തിനാണ് ചെയ്തത്?
അതാ എനിക്കറിയില്ല.
ഓക്കെ, ക്ലോൺ ചെയ്ത് നമ്മൾ എന്തിനാണ്? ഓൾറെഡി ഗിറ്റബിലുള്ള റെപ്പോസിറ്ററി നമുക്ക് ലോക്കലിൽ കിട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ക്ലോൺ റെപ്പോസിറ്ററി ചെയ്തത്. ഓക്കെ, ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ എന്തോ ചെയ്തത്? ഇവിടത്തെ കേസിൽ അതാ ലാസ്റ്റ് റെക്കോർഡിംഗിൽ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്, അവിടുത്തെ കമാൻഡ് എന്ത് വരും? നമ്മുടെ ലോക്കലിലുള്ള ഫയലിനെ എങ്ങനെ നമ്മുടെ റിമോട്ടിലോട്ട് ആഡ് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മൾ നോക്കി. അതിനാണ് നമ്മൾ മറ്റേ അതിനകത്ത് നിങ്ങൾ നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആ റെക്കോർഡിംഗ് കണ്ടിട്ടുള്ളതിനകത്ത് ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, ഒരു റെപ്പോസിറ്ററി തുടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ അതിനകത്ത് കുറെ കമാൻഡ്സ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു കീ ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം, ആ കീ എങ്ങനെ വെരിഫൈ ചെയ്യാം. ആ റെക്കോർഡിംഗിൽ ഞാൻ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് എങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ലോക്കലുള്ള ഫയൽ ആഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ക്ലോൺ എന്നുള്ള വേറെ പ്രോസസ്സാണ്, ഇതിനകത്ത് രണ്ടായിട്ട് തന്നെയാണ് അതിനകത്ത് പറഞ്ഞത്. ഇതിൽ അത് നമ്മൾ ലോക്കലിലുള്ള ഫയൽ, നമ്മുടെ ലോക്കലിലുള്ള ഫയലിനെ എങ്ങനെ റിമോട്ടിൽ ആഡ് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ളത് ഞാൻ ഒന്നുകൂടെ കാണിച്ചു തരാം. ഇപ്പൊ നിങ്ങളൊരു പുതിയ റെപ്പോസിറ്ററി തുടങ്ങുന്നു, ക്രിയേറ്റ് ജസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു എന്നിട്ട് ഞാൻ റെപ്പോസിറ്ററി തുടങ്ങുന്നു. ഇവിടെ തന്നെ കണ്ട ഓർ പുഷ് ആൻ എക്സിസ്റ്റിംഗ് റെപ്പോസിറ്ററി ഫ്രം ദ കമാൻഡ് ലൈൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. ഈ ഒരു കമാൻഡ് സെറ്റ് ഫോളോ ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ഞാൻ എന്റെ ലോക്കലിലുള്ള ഫയൽസ് എല്ലാം ആഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഇതാണ് ചെയ്തത്. ക്ലോൺ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ വേറെ സാധനമായിരുന്നു, ഇതുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധമില്ല. ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത് ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ മനസ്സിലായി, ക്ലോണിൽ തന്നെ നിൽക്കുമായിരുന്നു. അതല്ലേ ആദ്യം ചോദിച്ചത്, എന്തെങ്കിലും കഴിഞ്ഞ വട്ടത്തെ ഡൗട്ട് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു? ഇപ്പൊ
അല്ല, ഇത് എനിക്ക് കുറച്ച് ഐഡിയ ഉണ്ട്, പുഷും കമ്മിറ്റ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ട്.
ശരി, ഓക്കെ. ഇപ്പൊ ഇത് ജസ്റ്റ് നോക്കി, ഇതെന്ന് പറയുന്നതാണ് നമ്മൾ ആ റെക്കോർഡിംഗ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഒന്നുകൂടി ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് കാണും. ക്ലോൺ ചെയ്യാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് എക്സിസ്റ്റിംഗ് ഓൾറെഡി ഉള്ള ഒരു റെപ്പോ. ഇപ്പം ഇമാജിൻ നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു കമ്പനി ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തു, അപ്പൊ ആ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഓൾറെഡി ഒരു കോഡ് വേർഷൻ ഉണ്ട് അവിടെ, അവർ ഓൾറെഡി ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് നമ്മുടെ ലോക്കലിൽ ഇല്ല. ഓക്കെ, നമ്മൾ അത് തന്നെ നമ്മൾ നമ്മുടെ ലോക്കലിലോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ക്ലോൺ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഇതെന്ന് പറയുന്നത് തിരിച്ച് നമ്മുടെ ലോക്കലുള്ളതിനെ നമുക്കൊരു എന്താണ് റിമോട്ട് റെപ്പോസിറ്ററിയിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ പുഷ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അത് രണ്ട് ആക്ഷൻസ് ആണ്. ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ കഴിഞ്ഞ പ്രാവശ്യം ഇതെല്ലാം ചെയ്ത് നമ്മൾ നമ്മുടെ ലോക്കൽ റെപ്പോസിറ്ററിയും നമ്മുടെ ലോക്കൽ സിസ്റ്റവും നമ്മുടെ ഗിറ്റബ് ഇതുമായിട്ട് ഒതന്റിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് നമുക്ക് പുഷ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള എല്ലാം കോൺഫിഗർ ചെയ്ത് വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ലാസ്റ്റ് ക്ലാസ്സിൽ എൻഡ് ചെയ്തത്. അതിനെ രണ്ട് ബ്രാഞ്ചസ് ആയിട്ട് വേർഷൻ ചെയ്താണ് ഇപ്പൊ. ഒന്നുകൂടെ സെഷൻ എടുത്തിട്ട് പോവാം. വേറെ ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ഡൗട്ട് ഉണ്ടോ? ഹലോ
ഹലോ, നമസ്കാരം. ഞാൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ഇപ്പൊ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തോളൂ, 2 സെഷൻ മിസ്സായി. അപ്പോൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും റെക്കോർഡിങ്സ് ഉണ്ടോ ഇതിന്റെ? എങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് ലിങ്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ?
റെക്കോർഡിങ്സ് എല്ലാം ഉണ്ട്. സോ അതെല്ലാം ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാൻ ഓൾറെഡി ഷെയർഡ് ആണ്. സോ ഞാൻ ഒന്നുകൂടെയും ഗ്രൂപ്പിൽ പോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാം അതിന്റെ അപ്ഡേറ്റ്സ്.
ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച്.
ഓക്കെ, ഇനി ഞാൻ ഫ്രാങ്ക് ആയിട്ട് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ഇല്ല. എത്ര ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞൊക്കെ മനസ്സിലായി. കഴിഞ്ഞ പ്രാവശ്യത്തെ കണ്ടിന്യൂഷൻ ആർക്കൊക്കെ മനസ്സിലാവാത്തതുണ്ട്. ഇത് വളരെ പറഞ്ഞ വൈബ് വെച്ച് ആർക്കൊന്നും മനസ്സിലായിട്ടില്ലെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. എന്താണ് കറണ്ട് സിനാരിയോ? ഇപ്പൊ എന്തായാലും നിങ്ങൾ ലേണിംഗിന് വേണ്ടി വന്നിരിക്കുക. ബാക്കി പ്രൊസീഡ് ചെയ്യാം. സോറി, പറഞ്ഞു.
ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ബ്രാഞ്ച് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തില്ലേ, ഈ ബ്രാഞ്ചിലേക്ക് മെയിനിലുള്ള ഫയലുകളെല്ലാം ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി വരുമോ? അതോ
സോറി മനസ്സിലായി അല്ല,
നമ്മളിപ്പോ മെയിനിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു കോഡ് റിവിഷന് വേണ്ടിയാണല്ലോ ബ്രാഞ്ച് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്?
അതെ.
അപ്പൊ അതിലേക്ക് മെയിനിലുള്ള എല്ലാ ഫയലുകളും ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി ബ്രാഞ്ചിലേക്ക് വരുമോ?
ഇല്ല, അതല്ലേ പറഞ്ഞു, അത് വരത്തില്ല. അത് നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴും മെർജ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴാണ് ഫയൽസ് വരുന്നത്. അതാണ് മെയിൻ പോയിന്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്.
അല്ല, അങ്ങനെയല്ല, തിരിച്ച് മെയിനിന്ന് ഇതിലേക്ക് വരില്ലേ? മെയിനിന്ന് ബ്രാഞ്ചിലേക്ക് വരുമോ? തിരിച്ചല്ല,
എവിടെയാണ് വരേണ്ടത്? മെയിനിന്ന്
ബ്രാഞ്ചിലേക്ക്. മെയിനിലുള്ള കോഡാണല്ലോ നമുക്ക് കറക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്, എഡിറ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്.
അതെ.
അപ്പൊ മെയിനിലുള്ള എല്ലാ ഫയലുകളും ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി ബ്രാഞ്ചിലേക്ക് വരുമോ?
അതല്ലേ ബ്രാഞ്ചിന്റെ ഉദ്ദേശം. അതിന്റെ ബ്രാഞ്ച് ആദ്യം പറഞ്ഞു. ആ മെയിനിന്ന് അതേ ഫസ്റ്റ് തിങ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ അതാണ്. നമ്മൾ ബ്രാഞ്ച് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് നമുക്ക് ആ മെയിനെ ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ അതിൽ ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ കാണിച്ചത് ആ ബ്രാഞ്ച്, ഞാൻ ആ യുഐയിൽ കാണിച്ചതിന്റെ മെയിൻ സാധനം അത് തന്നെയാണ്.
അതായത് നമ്മൾ സെലക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതല്ല, എല്ലാം വരും അല്ലേ?
അതെ, സെലക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതല്ല, എല്ലാം വരും. നമ്മളിപ്പോ ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ബ്രാഞ്ച് ഓക്കെ, ഞാൻ വേണമെങ്കിൽ അതൊന്നുകൂടെ പറഞ്ഞു. ഇപ്പൊ ഇതാണ് മെയിൻ ബ്രാഞ്ച്. ഓക്കെ, ഞാനിവിടെ ഒരു ഫീച്ചർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ആ ഫീച്ചർ 2-ല് നമ്മൾ മെയിനിൽ എന്തൊക്കെ ഫയൽസ് ഉണ്ടോ അതെല്ലാം വരും. ഇവിടെ നിങ്ങൾ നോക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സ്വിച്ച് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ കാണാം മെയിനിൽ 3 ഫയൽസ്, ഫീച്ചർ 2-ലും അതേ 3 ഫയൽസ്. ഫസ്റ്റ് തിങ് വെച്ചാൽ നമ്മൾ എന്തൊക്കെ ഫീച്ചർ 2-ൽ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യോ അതെല്ലാം അതിനകത്തുണ്ട്. ക്ലിയർ അല്ലേ? ഓക്കെ, വേറെ ആരെങ്കിലും ഡൗട്ട്സ് ഉണ്ടോ?
അതെ അതെ ക്ലിയർ.
വേറെ ഡൗട്ട്സ് ഉണ്ടോ ആർക്കെങ്കിലും?
If you're having any kind of doubt, feel free to open your mic and invite.
Okay,
I think it's clear.
Sorry, Jiran, you were saying something?
No, I was saying that I think everything is clear. We can
Yeah,
move
okay.
on.
Yeah, just two more things I just want to say. So what happened is that now you can see when you select the Git branch. Now what you're seeing is that I have already deleted the feature 1 branch from my remote repository, but this has not reflected in my local repository because I have not made a sync of my local repository and remote repository. So what you can do is either you can say a Git pull, or you can, if you want, you can manually delete this particular feature. So to delete that, so what I'm going to show you is that how to delete a branch locally. Okay. So to delete that, what you have to do is you have to switch away from that branch. So once you press the Git branch, what happens is that there's a feature 1 and there's a main. So like I said, since star and highlight is there, you will be using this particular branch. So you need to switch from that. Either you can use git switch, or you can say git checkout main. Now you can see it's switched to main branch main. Here I can say git pull just to get the version, what are the current codes are. So I have the latest code with me. I can see git status. So all my codes are up to date. So every time just try to enter git status to know what is the current scenario of you. So since my old code is working with this, I want to delete the feature 1 branch. What I will do is git branch -d. So that's a flag to delete the branch feature. So delete a branch. Let's do this. So git branch. That particular branch is deleted. Only main branch is shown. So I have deleted this particular. Here, if you want to create, so if you don't want to create a branch locally, or you only want to create a branch, sorry, if you don't want to create a branch on your remote repository, but you want to maybe something locally, here you can do the same from home. For that, you will be using git branch -b. So flag is -b, and you will be saying that. Okay, I think it's solution conflict. You can just create a branch from your remote as well. You can just, let me just, in this case, if you are having doubts regarding your flags, just say it. You can just see here what are the commands. So you can just go through. Okay, I think the -b is not in this version of particular my version git I'm using. So there was a flag for called -b where you can create a new branch in the node that you can check with the help button. So this is what normally a branching in your files looks like. I think that pretty much covers everything. Okay, just can see. Just one more thing I'm just saying. So we have create. Let's say I'm creating another branch. Okay. Now the flag is actually -. Okay, let's say I'm creating a new branch feature 3. Okay, so what I've done is I've created the flag was -m, not -b. The keep branch -m feature 3. So I've created a new flag, and you can see a branch that says feature 3. So this is the new branch I have created. So what I'm going to do is I'm creating a new file just to understand what are the changes. I'm saying finally file. Okay, so here what I've done is you can add this file, and when you switch to the main branch, it won't be there. Just a simple thing that I wanted to see. So yeah, the thing that pretty much covers what are the Git branches are. You can check these are the cheat code for Git, where you can see okay, what are the things you can change, what are how to delete all those things you can. I think that pretty much sums up what I wanted to discuss about Git branches. Do you have any doubt? You guys have do you have any doubt? I think that brings us to the end of our session. Only branches was the only thing that we have to left out last session because it kind of like took 2 hours for discussing. So if you have a doubt, it's free to discuss. Yeah.
So then now the staging is open for each and everyone to unmute your mic and ask this query regarding any kind of regarding the last section or today's section. So yeah, so this is the final and section from the GitHub and Git part from the section related to the HacktoberFest, since the HacktoberFest have ended for this time. So yeah, so anyone having any kind of queries or anything to ask? I think since no one is having it out, we could wind up the section. So once again, very much thank you to Arnas Kumar for taking the section as behalf from the MuLearn team and from each and every members who attended the section. And hope everyone did have a great time learning the basics of Git and what is HacktoberFest and also having an introduction to FOSS. So yeah, feel free to join us in our later events and get your knowledge base more and make your learnings more fun and exciting, and do build a very large number of projects and showcase them. Okay. So once again, thank you. I don't know.
One thing to add, Jaden. Only one thing that I didn't add in session is actually that I said in the last class, Git stash and the Git rebase. So that is kind of like a complicated thing, and it itself need like an hour or such for it. So that is the only thing that we have left out from what I have planned for the whole session for it. But I think with this, what we have discussed with Git branches and from the last session, I think it would be really, it will give you some info on get starting on the Git. And there are plenty of documentation available online. You can just refer that, and it is something that is very well documented and very have a lot of tutorials available as well. So you can refer that as well. So this is something will help you to get started. Yeah, that's all. I thought I should add that as
well. Okay, thank you, Anita, for the last moment. Okay, so once again, thanking each and everyone who joined this meet and getting to know about the basics of Git and GitHub. And like, thank you, Anjeta, for joining and sharing the information. Okay, so yeah, see you at the next event, and see you guys. Until then, goodbye.